Hello, 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 and welcome to More Move and Meditate, sponsored by Vibes Wellness and hosted by myself, Jules Singletary, founding owner of Gratitude Griot LLC. I started this series in March as, hey Jody, welcome. We started this series back in March as a tool to help people to cope with chronic stress and to also find some useful ways to root into self-care, self-love. Hello, Crolanio. Probably screwing that up, but welcome. Don't let me jack up your IG names by all means. That is my bad. Ultimately, we just want to welcome you all to this series. Anyone that feels like they need a little help and support and helping to alleviate just any chronic stress, built up emotions, tension. There's so much going on in the world right now. We are still very much so in a pandemic, on top of everything that we're exposed to in the media. So these are the times where it's really important to root into self and nourish yourself a little bit. So with that being said, we usually kick these off with a bit of a Dharma Talk, which that was just my intro. I am going to read you all a quote before we start our movement practice that will help us release some stress and tension in our necks, our shoulders, our upper body. And then we get into a meditation. And so, since this is only the second week with the Vibes community, I really wanted to center this around the theme of self-love so that we are really clear what this is about and why it's so important. And so, the first quote for the evening, I'm reading from Salvation by Bell Hooks, Black People in Love. And she actually quotes James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. Love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without, and we know we cannot live within. I use the word love here not merely in the personal sense, but as a state of being or a state of grace. Not in the infantile American sense of being made happy, but in the tough and universal sense of quest, daring, and growth. So our journey to self-love is a constant evolution of learning about ourselves at each new stage and step in our lives and evolving from that new place. And always appreciating where we've been and the experiences that help to shape our present day self, but just acknowledging all parts of us from past to how we show up in the present, to how we might like to evolve and change in the future. But really all rooting that back into self and honoring ourselves with care and tenderness and love. And so with that being said, making your way to your comfortable practice space, you can be in a seat, sitting up in a chair, on a nice comfy couch, maybe seated in some type of asana on your yoga mat. You can be lying down for this practice, also on your yoga mat, or maybe in bed if this is an evening nightcap for you. Wherever you're joining the practice, however your body feels most comfortable, go ahead and place one palm at your heart center, and the other palm right on top of your belly. Just pausing here for a moment, breathing into your heart space and that gut feeling, that inner knowingness, right? On your next out breath, go ahead and interlace all of your fingers in front of your chest. You'll turn your palms out towards the screen as you stretch your arms long. On your inhale, your arms will lift up high towards the ceiling. And take a twist towards your right side. Be turning your head to look up at your palms. Bring your head and torso back to center as you twist towards the left and turn to gaze up. Do a few rounds like that, twisting from one side and gently turning your head up towards the ceiling, towards your palms. Bring it back to center before you twist towards opposite side. Take one more round, twisting towards both sides. And this can be really fluid and organic. And exhale, just relax your arms down by your sides. Take some really big shoulder rolls backwards to open up your chest. Take some gentle neck circles, neck rolls, and they can be really gliding and fluid. Make sure you take your gaze up towards your ceiling. We look down at our phones and our screens so much. It's always good to stretch out the front of our throat, front of our chest. Bring your head back to center, finding some stillness. Go ahead and shake out your hands, kind of shaking away any stale energy, any tension that you might have in your body. Just shake that and let it go. Hello, Infinite Nat. Welcome, welcome. And Devarius. And then gently bring your palms back down to your lap. Just as we started our practice, take a few breaths, breathing in through your nose. Exhale to release out of your mouth. If you're in a safe space, you can gently close your eyes, just lowering your gaze down towards the floor. Starting to take your awareness more internally. Just allowing any sounds you might hear in the room, in the space around you. Allow those to float by. Any thoughts that might be running through your head right now, can you acknowledge them? Maybe say thank you. And bring your attention right back to your breath. Sometimes we think it's selfish to focus on ourselves and our needs. But in actuality, unless we pour into ourselves, we're not showing up to any situation or relationship as our full, whole, and healed self, without giving ourselves self-love and self-care first. And just acknowledge what it feels like for a few moments to root fully into yourself. And not the self that's attached to the labels of son and daughter, sister, brother, mom, husband, wife. Not the self that thinks all of the anxious thoughts, those ruminating thoughts that are constantly running through our minds. But that conscious self, that self that's aware and observing everything that goes on, from our thoughts to our feelings, that self that acknowledges when we have those negative self-talks, those limiting beliefs. It's our conscious, most pure, loving self that says, no thank you. Those thoughts don't serve me in my highest good. There's no space for you here. Because we talk to ourselves with love and kindness over on these parts. As you keep drawing into your breath, I'd like to share a quote from Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love. Of course, it feels unnatural to be gentle when you've been harsh for many years. But that's no excuse for not trying. We reach the light by choosing the light. Light means understanding. Through understanding, we are healed. And healing can only occur when our wounds are revealed. The goal of personal growth is the journey out of dark emotional patterns that cause us pain to those that create peace. One of the most glorious human potentials is our capacity to change. Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. Know that you are constantly evolving. Each day you are shape-shifting into the next best version of you. And that process becomes expansive the more you root into yourself, your self-care, your self-love practices. Begin to reintroduce some movement to your practice by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Go ahead and circle out your ankles and your wrists. It feels good dropping one ear down towards your shoulder and then the next, gently rocking out your head and your neck. And when you're ready, you can find some stillness and gently blink your eyes open. Bringing one palm to heart center and the other palm right on top of that for one last time, just acknowledging you have done something loving and nourishing for your body. We thank you so much for joining us and supporting this series in its infancy stages. We hope to continue to grow it as we've grown on other platforms. By all means, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. I hope you all be well, everyone. Continue to stay safe and take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time.